Hi strangers, it's Mandy from Lady and Pups. We're going to be making a holiday Kahlua roll or holiday house roll or dinner roll. I don't really want to call it dinner roll because it's more like a dessert. It's basically a brioche-like dough, but then instead of whole milk, I'm replacing the whole milk completely with Kahlua liquor. The Kahlua liquor is going to give the bread this really warmth, you know, kind of like this like vanilla-y, spicy background note that makes the bread a lot more special than just another brioche. And then I'm going to fill it with mascarpone cream and then sprinkle it with lots of salty, sweet, spiced sugar. That's mixed with crushed pistachio. So let's do it. If you don't know what a roux bread is, it's basically a bread that has part of its flour cooked. It softens the bread, and as well as it helps the bread retain its moisture longer. Okay? And it has a better crumb, especially when you're trying to make something like a squishy brioche dough. A roux is a really good idea. I have half a cup of Kahlua in this pot, and I'm going to bring it to a boil, okay? So remember that roux that we talked about, right? So I already have half a cup of flour in my mixer, and I'm going to pour the boiling Kahlua directly into the mixer, and that's going to cook the flour. Once the Kahlua comes to a boil, just pour the whole thing into your mixer. Start mixing on low until like a lump of cooked dough comes together. Step not only cooks the flour, but it also gets rid of some of the excess alcohol in the Kahlua that we don't need. So when that comes together, we can add the rest of our ingredients. The dry ingredients, bread flour, I have a little bit of dark brown sugar and salt in this. So that goes in, and then eggs, I have 1 whole egg and plus 2 egg yolks. 2 tablespoons of molasses, okay? Molasses is gonna give that really like sugar cane flavor. Vanilla extract, and last but not least, that softened yeast. Add all the ingredients in except butter. Then we're gonna start on low until the whole thing comes together into a dough. Just scrape the sides to help it. Once like, you know, there are no loose flours in the bowl, I'm going to turn this to medium speed. And then I'm going to knead this for at least 5 minutes. About 5 to 7 minutes, this is what the dough will look like. Okay, it should be very elastic, but sticky. Okay, you should have a sticky dough. Then I'm going to add the butter. The butter is straight from the fridge, so it's cold. I'm going to add it all at once. Most recipes would say add a tablespoon at a time. I find that with cold butter, okay, with room temperature butter, you may have to do that because the butter is just gonna melt too fast. But with cold butter, it's already going to slowly release itself into the dough anyway, so I don't see any point adding it 1 tablespoon at a time. Then I'm going to knead this on medium-high speed for another 5 to 7 minutes. So after 5 to 7 minutes, this is what the dough should look like. When the machine is running, it should stick a little bit on the bottom of the bowl, but able to like pull away cleanly from the sides. And it's just like extremely shiny, sticky, almost looks like toffee candy kind of a texture. So this dough is now ready for its first rise, and it's going to be quite long. The rich dough rises a lot slower, and even though the amount of yeast that I add into this dough is probably double the amount of what I would usually do, but it's still going to take 9 to 12 hours at room temperature, especially if your kitchen is cold during the winter time. So I would suggest that you start the recipe somewhere around noontime, and then before you go to sleep, you shape them and let the second rise happen throughout the night, okay? So I'll see you back tonight. So it's been about like a good 10 hours in my kitchen, and the dough has doubled. If your home is warmer and the dough rises a lot faster than that, then don't worry, you can always you know, once it doubles, you can shape them and then leave them in the fridge to do the second rise overnight. So now I'm taking this out, and then I'm not gonna do the whole like punching the air out thing. I'm gonna treat this almost as if I'm baking like a sourdough. And now all I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut it into 9 equal portions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9.
Do I have 9?
Yes.
Okay. And then obviously they're not all equal size, and I go back and then I try to make them all equal size just by feeling it, the weight of in my hand. I'm not gonna go too crazy and weight them. I think that's kind of pointless. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tuck the sides into the center to make it a ball first. And then all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll it on the counter like this, and that friction is going to tighten the surface of the dough. Okay? And here I have a smaller pot and a bigger pan. Okay, you have to so you can totally bake all 9 of them, or arrange all 9 of them in like a 8-inch by 8-inch square pan. It's up to you. I just want to have a small and a big one, so that's what I'm doing. And make sure that you butter whatever pan that you're using, butter them up, okay? Otherwise it's gonna stick. I think I'm gonna have 3 in the small one, the small pan, and then the rest goes in here. Plastic. Like I said, the second rice is gonna happen overnight on my counter, and I'm gonna bake them the next morning. See you tomorrow. Bye. So the next day, these rolls have doubled nicely. I have preheated the oven 175 Celsius. And all I'm gonna do is, these egg whites are saved from, you know, the egg yolks that were mixed into the dough. So remember, don't throw those egg whites away. All I'm gonna do is just brush the top of the dough with the egg whites. So these are gonna go in the oven for about 25 minutes. Now, meanwhile, when your bun is in the oven, we're gonna make the fillings. Here I have 300 grams of mascarpone, vanilla extract, and I'm going to sweeten it with light brown sugar. Now, this is optional. I don't particularly like the taste of alcohol, but if you want to, if that's your thing, you can add a little bit of Kahlua into your mascarpone too. I'm just gonna do like a tiny dab, just symbolic. But if you want a little bit more boozy flavor, you can certainly add a little bit more. Once that's evenly mixed, all I'm gonna do is stuff it into a pastry bag. I don't have my pastry bag, just broke on me, so I'm using a Ziploc bag. That is totally fine too, with you know, one of those tips. Then I'm just gonna hope to God that this bag doesn't break on me. Like this. And set that aside, okay? Then the last thing we're going to do is that salty sweet powder that I'm going to sprinkle on top of the buns. 3 tablespoons of roasted pistachios. Salted is fine. The pistachio is just gonna give it a very nice nuttiness. 2 tablespoons of dark brown sugar. 1/8 teaspoons of allspice, and 1/8 teaspoon of cinnamon. Last but not least, 1/4 teaspoon of fine sea salt. And I know that sounds like a lot, but I really want this mixture to taste right in between salty and sweet. I really feel like the saltiness kind of pulls everything into focus. I'm going to pulse this until everything is kind of ground up. If you have a little chunks of pistachio, that's totally fine. Set it on the side. Again, you can also do this the day before, and now all we have to do is wait for the buns to be ready. And these buns are beautifully golden brown. I'm just going to lightly score the sides, so just to make sure that it's not sticking. Then I'm gonna let this rest for, just cool down a bit, okay, for about like 10-15 minutes before I start stuffing them. To stuff them, I'm gonna keep them in the pan first because I think that gives me more support. So what I'm gonna do is just I'm gonna take a pointy sharp knife and I'm just gonna, you know, create a hole in the center of each bun. Then I'm gonna pray to God that this pastry bag works. Give it a really good squeeze. Like that. Oh my God. No accident happened in the past 20 minutes. I'm just stuffing these buns with my very sturdy pastry bag. There! Finally, you're going to brush the surface of the buns crazy generously with lots of melted butter. Guys, this is the holiday, so don't skimp on the butter. I want it to run down the sides like a little beautiful river. And little puddles like this is very good sign. Last but not least, that salty sweet pistachio spiced sugar, which is going to stick onto those melted butter that you so generously applied. And that's it. Now let's just take a look at these beautiful buns. And let's check out the crumbs. You see how nice and stringy the crumbs are, and soft and squishy? That's a sign that you're about to eat some softy and chewy, delicious bread. So open it up. Oh my God. The mascarpone that's filled inside, now that it's warmed by the bread, it's gonna become liquidy and vanilla-y like a sauce. Now let's see how it tastes, shall we? Oh my God, you guys. I hate doing this part because I feel like if I'm telling you that, oh my God, it's amazing, it's the best freaking sweet bun I've ever eaten, you're gonna be like, well, of course you're saying that, it's your recipe. But seriously, guys, let's talk about the buns first. The buns itself already has so much flavor from the Kahlua, from the molasses. It has this like sugar caney, warm spiciness, vanilla-iness in the background. And the crumb is so stringy and soft and slightly chewy at the same time. But then it's now moistened up with this mascarpone cream. And seriously, can we talk about this topping? It's that salty sweetness. It just pulls everything into focus. It's almost like you were eating it with like some kind of a short-sightedness, and then all of a sudden you put glasses on and all the flavor comes into focus. It's rich, decadent, warm, and spicy. It's perfect for the holiday season. So let me know what you think. I love this recipe. Please try not to skip ingredients or spices or, you know, the salt. Try to, you know, make it as is first, and then let me know how you like it, because I really think that the whole combination is what makes this recipe so special. So thanks guys for watching. I'm just gonna be here trying not to eat the whole thing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.